Well, what you're seeing here is a box that I've just received for a universal cutter grinder. It is one of the Chinese import types. When I was trying to decide whether or not I wanted to get one, I didn't see a whole lot of videos out there. There were a few. The best one I've seen is done by Steven Gottswinter on his YouTube channel, and that actually influenced me quite a bit to go ahead and get this. But I decided I would go ahead and document the unboxing of this and just first impressions and everything. Of course, I'm just an amateur weekend machinist. I've got a project I'm working on right now where I've got some tool bits with some special forms on them that I want to be able to cut, and because of that need, that finally made me go ahead and decide to push the button on going ahead and purchasing this. So just first impression with the box. It looks like very well packaged. I'm impressed with that, so I will go ahead and get the sides pulled off and we'll take a little closer look. Okay, so at this point we've got one side pulled off. Do notice there is a little bit of a hole in the side of the box there. There wasn't any corresponding damage on the outer part of the case, so that obviously had to have happened before that point. Stuck my finger in there. It didn't feel like anything was obviously broken, but we'll find out here shortly. Okay, so here's the first shot with the top of the box opened up. Yeah, it does look like it maybe had gotten bounced around a little bit. Some of the styrofoam is broken on it, but at least on first appearance, still no real obvious damage. It is supposed to be an R8 collet type, which at least on first look it looks like it is, though I've seen some references to some collets that look R8 but really aren't R8. So we'll finish getting these pulled out here and take a look and see what all we've got. Okay, got everything pulled out of the box now, and I've got everything laid out just to make it a little easier for people to get an idea of what's included with this. These do appear to be R8 collets, and just for comparison, I've got one of my collets from my mill, a 5/8, right here, and it does appear to be the same type. And of course, what they included are metric collets. One of the things I was a little concerned about was whether or not the holder would thread, or if they use some kind of a metric thread. But actually, this is the collet from my mill, and that fits the holder just fine. So it looks like I can use my R8 collets off of my mill if I choose to. I'm not sure if I will actually do that or not, since this is a grinder and I may not want to mix my milling collets with collets that are getting used for grinding. Over here is the little holder for the holding lathe bits, square lathe bits. And then this over here is the holder for the grinding drill bits. And they do include, there is a little manual with it, and it actually even has some color pictures in it. The English isn't too bad. I mean, I can definitely tell that someone did a translation from Chinese to English, but at least on first glance, I mean, I haven't gone through and looked at every single page, but it looks like it would be a fairly decent manual. Again, on Steven Gottswinter's site, he made reference that this type of grinder is actually a clone of a decal grinder, and he recommended finding the the Deckel Universal Cutter Grinder Manual and using that as a reference, especially for learning how to make use of the tool. So a few other items that are included here. This is the grinding wheel they included, which, I mean, at least on first appearance looks okay. I mean, I've never had a grinder before, so I have no idea if this is a good wheel or not, but it looks okay. And this is also the diamond wheel. And then we'll slide the camera over here so you can get a better look at the unit itself. And get the camera adjusted. And overall, I mean, the unit looks fairly decent. There's a little bit of paint chipping in a few places, but you know, overall it doesn't look too bad. The shaft here looks to be chrome plated and looks to be fairly decent. I haven't had a whole lot of opportunity to play with this, but I don't know, the movements may be a little sticky, but I mean, it seems to move okay. I haven't seen any what I would call killer problems or anything like that. And of course, up here is the holder for the diamond bit. And of course, power switch. This is the lock here for the shaft, and you'll probably want to make sure you're supporting that so it doesn't just drop down. And then there's also some micrometer adjustments for positioning the shaft, which again, I haven't played around with this a whole lot yet, so probably won't twiddle with too many dials at this point. And let's see, I believe on the left here is another adjustment for, I assume, moving this in and out. But overall, I mean, it looks like, you know, on first look, the unit appears to be in pretty good shape. I have not powered it up yet. So the next thing I'll do is I have to sit down and study the manuals a little bit more and get a grinder, get the grinder wheel on, and get a tool bit and do a few tests and see how it works. One other thing I'll just comment on here real quick. This unit is pretty heavy. It's probably around 90 pounds or so. And of course, if you've got a second person to help you, then, you know, two people could definitely handle getting this up on the table. I had to use an A-frame and a chain hoist to get this up onto the table. And of course, one thing you want to be aware of is when you're wrapping a strap around it, is to, of course, be sure you're staying clear of all the handles. When I was lifting it, I was able to get a strap around on this side, and there is some space underneath here as well. So you'll have no problems getting a strap underneath, and then just making sure that you're going up behind the shaft there, so that you don't bend or break any handles. And if you keep that in mind, I had no problems getting it up on the table, you know, using my A-frame and a chain hoist. Okay, I've got a little bit of initial setup here, just taking a few quick test cuts on this. I've got some 6mm drill rod here that I'm just taking a few test cuts on with the grinder. I'll go ahead and fire it up here so you can hear what it sounds like. Seems to be running very smoothly. I did a little bit of dress up with the diamond dressing bit. And we'll go ahead and take a few test cuts here, and we'll just give you an idea of how it sounds like when it's running for the first time. get it, I'll go ahead and pull the bit out here just to so you can get an idea of what it looks like. I think normally I would be rough grinding this on my grinder and then fine tuning the finish, but that's basically what I've done so far. Again, just this is my first time even using this, so I've got a little bit more practicing to do, but you know, it looks like it should work just fine for my purposes. So I think that's probably all I will cover at this point. Maybe as I learn a little bit more, I'll post some more videos on some grinding drill bits, but I figured if anything, since there are so few videos about this type of grinder, which this particular model is the Model U3 grinder, I figured I would go ahead and post what I'm seeing, so if anyone else is trying to decide whether or not they want to get one of these machines, then you know, maybe they've got a little bit more information to try and make a decision.